Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Last Science Show. I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're taking this Black history and sharing it with somebody. I'm learning, and I hope you are too. One of the most important lessons that is being cemented in my mind throughout this series is the lesson to persevere, to not give up, give out, or give in. These Black scientists that we are honoring did not give up, give out, or give in. They just kept rising to the top, like a Kenny Burke song. Anyway, let's honor our next African American scientist. Let's talk about Marie Daly. Marie M. Daly is best known for being the first African American woman to receive a Ph.D. in chemistry in the United States. Marie M. Daly was an American biochemist. She was raised in an education-oriented family, and Daly quickly received her Bachelor's of Science and Master's of Science in chemistry at Queens College and New York University, respectively. After completing her Ph.D. at Columbia University and becoming the first African American woman to obtain a Ph.D. in chemistry in the United States, Daly taught and conducted research. Daly's groundbreaking work helped clarify how the human body works. She died in New York City on October 28, 2003. Daly was born on April 16, 1921 in Queens, New York. Daly came from a family that believed strongly in the power of education. Her father, Ivan C. Daly, had immigrated from the West Indies as a young man and enrolled at Cornell University to study chemistry. A lack of money blocked his path, however, and he was forced to quit college, instead returning to New York City where he found work as a postal clerk. Daly's mother, Helen, grew up in Washington, D.C. and came from a family of readers. She spent long hours reading to her daughter and fostered Daly's love of books, in particular, those that centered on science and scientists. After graduating from Hunter College High School, an all-girls institution in New York City, Daly attended Queens College in Flushing, New York, choosing to live at home in order to save money. Really wise choice. It's too expensive out here. Daly graduated with honors in 1942, and to get around the fact that she didn't have much money for graduate school, landed work as a lab assistant at her old college, as well as a hard-earned fellowship. Both were instrumental in helping her to cover the cost of getting a graduate degree in chemistry from New York University. Daly didn't waste time in completing her studies. She finished her master's degree in just a year and then, in 1944, enrolled at Columbia University as a doctoral student. Aided by her own ambition and intelligence, Daly was further helped by timing. World War II was at its peak, and employers were looking for women to fill the jobs left by the scores of men who'd been sent overseas to fight. In addition, Columbia's chemistry program was being led by Dr. Mary L. Caldwell, a renowned scientist who helped blaze new trails for women in chemistry throughout her career. At Columbia, Daly took to the lab, studying how the body's chemicals help digest food. She finished her doctorate, unknowingly making history as the first female African American to receive a Ph.D. in chemistry in the United States in 1947. Fascinated by the human body's complicated inner workings, Daly landed a grant in 1948 from the American Cancer Society. This was the start of a 7-year research program at the Rockefeller Institute of Medicine, where Daly examined how proteins are constructed in the body. In 1955, Daly returned to Columbia, working closely with Dr. Quentin B. Deming on the causes of heart attacks. Their groundbreaking work, which was later relocated to the Albert Einstein College of Medicine at Yeshiva University in New York, disclosed the relationship between high cholesterol and clogged arteries. That work opened up a new understanding of how foods and diet can affect the health of the heart and the circulatory system. In addition to her research work at Einstein, Daly also taught biochemistry courses. Recognizing the importance of her own career path, Daly championed efforts to get students of color enrolled in medical schools and graduate science programs. In 1988, she started a scholarship in honor of her father for minority students who want to study science at Queens College. Daly retired from Albert Einstein College in 1986. Her many honors included induction into Phi Beta Kappa, as well as being tapped as a Fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Daly, who married Vincent Clark in 1961 and whose full married name was Mary Maynard Daly Clark, passed away in New York City on October 28, 2003. Her story is another clear-cut example of perseverance. Overcoming the dual hurdles of racial and gender bias, like the other queens, Marie conducted important studies on cholesterol, sugars, proteins, and was committed to helping minority students like me succeed in medical school and graduate science programs. Thank you, Marie, for paving the way. Thank you for tuning in to this episode, folks. Continue to like, subscribe, comment, and get ready for more exciting Black History Month specials. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good science. The first Black scientist we are going to honor is George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver was an African-American scientist and educator. Carver is famous for many inventions, including a number of uses for the peanut. George Washington Carver was born enslaved and went on to become one of the most prominent scientists and inventors of his time, as well as a teacher of the Tuskegee Institute. Carver devised over 100 products using one major crop, the peanut, including dyes, plastics, and gasoline. Carver was most likely born in 1864, enslaved in Diamond, Missouri, during the Civil War years. Like many children of the enslaved, the exact year and date of his birth are unknown. Carver was one of many children born to Mary and Giles, an enslaved couple owned by Moses Carver. A week after his birth, Carver was kidnapped along with his sister and mother from the Carver farm by raiders from the neighboring state of Arkansas. The three were later sold in Kentucky. Among them, only the infant Carver was located by an agent of Moses Carver and returned to Missouri. The conclusion of the Civil War in 1865 brought the end of slavery in Missouri. Moses and his wife Susan decided to keep Carver and his brother James at their house after that time. As she had been in high school, Jemison was very involved in extracurricular activities at Stanford, including dance and theater productions, and served as head of the Black Student Union. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in chemical engineering from the university in 1977. Upon graduation, she entered Cornell University Medical College and, during her years there, found time to expand her horizons by studying in Cuba and Kenya and working at a Cambodian refugee camp in Thailand. After Jemison obtained her MD in 1981, she interned at Los Angeles County / University of Southern California Medical Center and later worked as a general practitioner. For the next 2.5 years, she was the Area Peace Corps Medical Officer for Sierra Leone and Liberia, where she also taught and did medical research. Following her return to the United States in 1985, Jemison made a career change and decided to follow a dream she had nurtured for a long time. In October, she applied for admission to NASA's astronaut training program. The Challenger disaster of January 1986 delayed the selection process, but when she reapplied a year later, Jemison was one of the 15 candidates chosen from a field of about 2,000.